Okay, we are ready to go. This is our first water aerobics video for the upcoming session, which is really funny. So we just finished midterm from the fall. This is where everybody would have been now for midterm for the fall. I know I have been contacting everybody and I've been sending you a bunch of information, and you've got some stuff left over from the summer and last semester which talked about different programming. I'm working with one of the other instructors that's talking about Pilates or yoga workouts, so we can attach some of those as we go along. But today is mostly talking about something to set up for you to do at home, because a number of you are at home and a number of you are not leaving the house, or you're doing very little. So I want to attach as much physical work as we can do that you might do at home on a regular basis. We're doing it in the lobby of the gym. I don't really want to show you the pool because it looks so fantastic right now. It'll make you more miserable that you're not there. But it looks absolutely breathtaking. It's just ready for people to get into. But as everybody knows by now, we are definitely going to be online again in the spring, which means that we don't know anything about anything that's going to happen until the 1st of June. And I'm not sure when they'll let us know that. I also have sent out emails that told you that I've contacted the people at NRH2O and Keller Point, and both of those places do have water classes, and they do have water walking classes, and they do have lane or lap swimming. And I believe it's the one at NRH2O that if you are belonging to Silver Sneakers, it's possibly free. And I do know they have senior prices. It's not obviously going to be anywhere close to what we do at ours. It's just never going to be like that for this time being, as far as I know, and I can't find a facility that's willing to compass, so to speak, for us to get started, and that would not be a really far drive away for us. So please think about some of the stuff that I'm going to send you. Please keep in touch with each other. Please take care of yourselves. Do the best that you can, and don't forget about us, because you know that as soon as I can, I will be ready to go and get you all back in shape, whether you want to be or not. I didn't send this out. I did to some people that know. Our longtime water aerobics person, Leona Swartz, passed away last week, and I was passing this on because I went to the visitation. Her family was super, super, super excited to visit about their mom and grandmother with me at the visitation. They said, she was 98, by the way, even though she was at a memory loss care there towards the end, the last few years, said that she continually remembered her water aerobics and her Pilates classes, that she remembered them vividly and remembered going and coming, and how much she liked them and how much she got out of them. So I think that's a tribute to us with our classes that we've been having through the years, and the number of you that continue to come and support us at TCC. Not just me, but us at the campus, and especially that class, to see how worthwhile it is and how much is going on with it and how many good things it can bring you physically, mentally, socially, etc., etc. But just passing that on before we get started. So the little part that I'm going to start off with right now is your exercises that you need to be doing in bed before you even get out of bed. As soon as you wake up in the morning, don't get up and do anything, I guess unless you have to go to the bathroom, but don't get up and do anything. I want you to do these stretches from bed to get ready to do whatever it's going to do for the day. So here I am in my bed. Oh my God, and I just got up, and I'm not even sure if I slept good or not. So here I am in my bed, and of course I shouldn't have my tennis shoes on, but I do. So anyway, so we're going to start off with just nice little pelvic tilts. I kind of said that with my twangy accent there, pelvic tilt, just to see how our back is going. So here it is. When it's a pelvic tilt, what you're having is it's like a bowl that's on your belly. And the bowl tips up or the bowl tips down. So that's what you're looking at. It's kind of like the tuck. One of the girls compares it to a dog that's in trouble when they tuck their tail and curl it up. So these little pelvic tilts right here will let you know what your back feels like as you get started. It doesn't have to be a full bridge. It's just a little pelvic tilt. We're just kind of massaging that lower back. And from there, you can take all the time in the world you want. You can take a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold it. Then another inhale and down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then hold it. If I was you, I would look through this tape a couple of times I would practice it possibly while watching it, and then maybe write down some stuff so you can remember some of the stuff, and especially the stuff that you liked that felt good, and then the stuff that maybe you didn't want to spend as much time on. And so from there, we're going to change around right and left foot. You can either grab your knee on top if you do it fairly easy, or you can grab behind your knee and support it. And all we're going to do right here is flex and point the foot up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then we're going to do the same thing side to side, side to side, side to side, so that we can get a little circulation going on in those feet, those ankles and everything, because we're going to have to stand on them pretty soon and do something. And then from there, I'm going to extend the leg up as high as I'm comfortable, and it might not be very high, but as high as I'm comfortable. And this time I'm going to make circles. I was flexing and pointing it a while ago, but now I'm going to make circles, and then I'm going to reverse on these circles. Now I can keep this leg bent, or I can straighten it. I usually straighten it out a little bit because I want to bring this leg across my body. So I'm holding onto my bed here, or I can hold on to back behind on my bed. So I just want to bring it back a little bit across. This is for that IT band, or that stretch across the body, just to bring it over here. And you may not be able to go very far, but that's fine. Just bring it over, stretch, and then I'm going to put that ankle on the knee. And we've done these stretches before where we do them standing in the water. And then I've had you pick your leg up and then try to tread water. So you can do a lot with these. These are called figure fours. I'm making a 9-degree figure four right here. I can do it just like this on the bed. I can even still do some more pelvic lifts on here. I can bring this foot up, adds a little bit of stretch on the hamstrings here. I can straighten this leg, or I can reach up if I want to go this far and go up. I typically do this with my foot down, and then I open up this hip a little bit if I get stiff. So that's what I do, and then I'm going to do the same thing onto the opposite side. So you start off with a nice little bend and flex, up and down, so it's a point and flex, up and down, and the same thing side to side, side to side, side to side. And then you're going to stretch up here, so you want to spend equal time, whether you look at your clock, your bed clock, and you do it the same amount of time or the same amount of repetitions. That's what you're going to want to do so that you're nice and warmed up. And then again, I'm going to bring it across my body, a nice little stretch. The weight of that leg will be enough. And then I'm going to go into that figure four, depending on what I did before. I can decide to stretch, or I can decide to come up like with a little pelvic tilt. That's going to be totally up to me to do that. And once I do both sides, I'm going to open my arms out. I'm going to put those knees together. I'm going to fold my knees to one side. So the weight of my knees is going to help me open up my chest, my shoulders, all through my ribs, my upper back, middle back, lower back, through my hips, a nice little stretch. I'm going to, if my knees are going to the left, I'm going to turn and look towards my right. That's going to be what I'm trying to do right there, just to stretch out. And then I'm going to do the same thing, opposite direction. I'm going to turn my knees to my right. And then I'm going to turn my head to the left and stretch out. And again, opening out through that chest. Again, this is all before we've actually done anything, because I want to make sure that you feel really comfortable by the time you're ready to sit up and get ready to get out of bed, or anything of that sort that you want to do. Then when you do get ready to get out, I happen to sleep on this side, so this is the closest side for me to get out of bed. Then I roll over and push myself up. Don't try to heave yourself back up like this, because it's going to hurt your head, your neck, your lower back. Roll over and then push yourself up. Use your triceps, your arms, to push yourself up till you're in a seated position. And depending on how high your bed is, most of you are going to be about the same as I am, your feet are going to be pretty close to touching. And you kind of want to see what's going on with them in parallel. Now, if you have the flexibility, another really good thing to do for your legs would be for you to open up one leg. If you have that flexibility, it doesn't have to be totally over to the side. It can be at an angle. And then just stretch over and stretch that leg out. The more flexibility, if you can grab your toe, that's great. If you can flex your foot, that's great. If you want to reach over with your arm, that's great. But you've got a lot of things you can do to get a little bit more flexibility in your lower back and to see what's going on in your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, things of that sort. And then always do a counter stretch, which means opposite arm to opposite leg. Be sure you do that counter stretch. And then do the same thing to the other side. And one side may be a little stiffer. You take your time when you're holding it. Be sure that this foot has some support, and you want to try to keep it right in line with your leg. So I've got my hip my knee and my ankle right in line. I'm not sitting like this on the bed. I've got a nice alignment. And then I've got my opposite stretch. Now, I find this one really hard to do, but some people like to go ahead and do their figure fours when they're on the side of the bed, but I don't find it very comfortable to do. That would be picking up this ankle and going over this knee. So I've got a 9-degree and a 9-degree. So I could do a little forward fold with that. I could do a lot of things with it. I just don't find this as comfortable to do. So I probably would not do this on both sides. I probably would just stick with the figure four back here. Plus hiking my leg up is really not what I want to do right now. I'm still pretty stiff. So then my feet are flat, nice and flat. And I'm going to go and stretch up through my upper body. So we've done this stretch a million times in class. I could do it standing, but there's no reason to do it standing yet because I'm still warming up the bed. So it's the hugging one, and the stretch across the body, and then the stretch behind the body, good. And then slide and stretch up and over. And when you do this stretch up and over on your bed, try to stay in the middle of your body. Try not to do these weird things or be a downlooker. Stay right here. And I'm also trying to make sure I have both seat bones into the bed. I'm trying not to lift up. Trying to press and stretch, press and stretch. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Come across and stretch to the shoulders. My hugging, stretching through the shoulders. Oh, and behind the back, through the shoulders, mid-back. And then up and over, stretching. Now from here we can start right into, again, so a little bit of cardio from the bed. We can start into cardio from the bed right here. We can start with our little marching. The feet do not have to come up very far. We can start with our marching right here. We can actually start off rolling toe ball heel. If you're really stiff, we can rock them back and forth, rock them back and forth. We can do your ankles back and forth. If you're one of those people that your ankles just, they need a little bit more than what you've got, you can do your little dancing feet. All kinds of things you can do just to get them warmed up. And then you start your like little marching or little jogging. That's all you have to do. And we have no body weight, so this is like low to non-impact here. And true, I'm thinking that probably since you went to bed, you're just getting up, you do not have shoes on either, so this is just kind of a matter of fact. Okay, and if you want to bring them up a little higher, then that starts involving your core or your abs, okay? So we could bring the right leg up and hold it. We could bring the left leg up and hold it. We could bring the right leg up and hold it. We could bring the left leg up and hold it. You can bring the right leg up and hold it. You can choose to do this as long as you want to warm you up and to have that core engaged. Now, another thing you can do compared to this is lean back a little bit. If you want to lean all the way back on your elbows, that's fine. If you just want to lean back on your hands, you have to figure out where is a good spot for you to do. I usually like my elbows, and I'll bring up one knee at a time. One knee at a time. So it's kind of like a reverse curl. And once I feel like I've got that going, and I'm not compromising my back because my body's actually kind of in a little C curve, then I'll try to see if I can do a reverse crunch, which is bringing both of them up. What you don't want is to do this, like you're folding, because that's going to hurt your back tremendously. So you just want to start off with one leg come up, the other leg come up. You don't have to go to this one. You don't have to go to the reverse. It is easier on your legs and your back to try this one, but it is harder on your wrist. So you kind of have to pick and choose which one that you think is going to work for you the best. So I want you to be really aware of that and keep in good posture, because the last thing you want to do is be working on your core, but your upper body is looking like this. Okay, now just something just this easy. Right leg comes out, then left leg comes out. This helps work a little bit on ab and adduction, inner thigh work. And if you combine it with something, I have picked up one of the tubings that we always had. I'm using right now when I do my home taping stuff, I'm using bungee cords from the garage because everybody seems to have a bungee cord. So I've got a bungee cord and I put that around my legs for a bungee cord. And then when I do this one, I have the bungee cord. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this one when you're getting from bed. You don't have to be, this is going to be one of the seated ones that we talk about later. But I'm just showing you how to warm your legs up as we get going right now. That's what I'm talking about more than the sitting stuff. It's because we're still in bed right now. We haven't gotten anything else done yet. And then, to add a little bit more cardio, and again, you can go down to your elbows, but I would kind of bring my hands closer to my side, is think about doing a jumping jack. Think about doing a jumping jack. And see if you can do a jumping jack without moving your upper body. See if you can use your core. Core is from the knees to the shoulders. See if you can use your core to bring the legs up and put them down. Bring the legs up and put them down. Bring the legs up and put them down. So exhale and then inhale. Exhale and then inhale. Exhale and then inhale. So all of these will help get a little bit of cardio going for you. Get your heart rate up just a little bit because it's like little to no impact that you're doing. And then you can do it one at a time. You can do it one at a time. And these are things that we've always done in class. We've done the jumping jacks, alternating arms. We've done same arms, same legs. And if you're really getting into this later on when you get back into your chair, because I'll bring a chair up over there and we can see how this stuff's going to look with a chair in front of it. But this is all the stuff I want to talk about in the bed that I want you to do before you even get out of bed. Then you can use all of that in reverse when you get ready to go to sleep at night. So then you will be relaxed and stretched out. I wouldn't do this little cardio part, getting ready to go to bed, but I do everything up to that part. Finish the stretching with the arms. Come on over the side, stretching with the legs, and you've got that ready to go, getting ready for bed. So just do it in reverse. Just do it in reverse, and that'll take care of the warm-up and the cool down for you. Okay, so we're going to play like now. This is my chair is what we're going to do. And I'm going to bring a chair over. I'm getting really close to you. I'm going to bring a chair over, and then I'll go back to the bed in a minute. So this is my chair. And I don't know if I'm watching TV or what it is that I'm doing right now. But I've got my chair going. And we'll go right back to the bungee cords, or if you do have tubing, or if you do have anybody still left with pantyhose or tights, any of those can be used. So you've got it to where it's fairly close together, inside, outside thighs, and literally you're just pressing. That's all you're doing. You're pressing. You're just pressing. So you can make this as tight as you want, or remember a little bit looser. But remember what we said always when we use resistance tubing? We said the same thing. There's no slack in it. There's no slack in it. It always has tension. So when you start, it has tension. So you can do right side, then left side, right side, then left side, or you can do both sides, just like you're doing a jumping jack, both sides. So those are things that we have always done. And then you can change your leg positions. Change it. Remember, we do that all the time, changing our leg positions, changing our leg positions, changing our leg positions. Make sure that you are sitting very upright, very centered in your chair. That if I came by and looked at you, you'd see the middle toe, your ankle, your knee, your hip bone, all the way up to your shoulders. That would be in one line. That's what you're looking at. So we have parallel, we have turnout, which our heels are clicking together, and we have medial. We have medial, which means the toes are turned in. So inside, outside, front and back of the legs. That's what we're looking at. And so you're going to be able to figure out how much stretch you have, how much flexibility, how strong you are in those areas, and all this helps you figure out your symmetry, how symmetrical you are. Now again, I'm going to be using my bungee cord, so play like this is my bungee cord here. Okay, so I've got it circled up. I'm using it as a bungee cord. Then I can do the same thing by putting my foot into it. And again, you guys are not having to go on the floor. You can if you want, but you don't have to go onto the floor. So all of these are just like leg presses. Leg presses, remember, keeping your wrists nice and straight, just applying a little bit of tension. So I'm bending and extending, bending and extending, bending and extending. It's no big deal. I'm going to do the same thing out to the side. I'm going to bring sideways and back, sideways and back, sideways and back. Keeping a good grip on it, keeping those wrists straight. Now I can hold this with one hand if I need a little bit of balance to hold onto my chair with the same hand and the same leg that's working. So I've got a nice little cross stretch going here. I can lift it up and down. I can bend it in and out. I can take it and turn it into that little outward action or the inward action. All of those will work. So you always have parallel position. You always have turnout position, like you're kicking somebody, and you have the medial, which is the turn-in position, which we probably work the least. So those would be done on both sides, And again, you may choose to hold with both hands, or opposition, just in order to make you feel like you're very even and steady in the chair when you're doing it. And I wouldn't do any of this fast, and I wouldn't do a lot of repetitions when you're first starting, because I'm afraid after all this time you might be pretty sore. But remember, lateral or parallel. Turn out is what I meant to say is lateral is next, which means the toe turns out. And then medial, which is when the toe turns in. And do them slow. Take your time and do them slow. That's going to make a big difference. Then you can put both feet in. Try to keep them in parallel position. Try to keep them in parallel position. Don't let them be all knock-kneed. Just this right here, just holding this resistance right here, these nice little pulses, is going to work your inner outer thighs. Just holding it here. Because look how upright I have to sit, look how strong my core has to be, just as and you're going to probably wind up starting off like this because your legs are going to weight you down. Well, even this is a workout. Even this is a workout. So think about that. All of these are workouts. Now, these are seated. I can move this same thing to the ground. I'm going to move this chair just over a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about if I want to do this. But what I would do is, my bungee cord would be down just a little bit lower. Looks like I'm getting an important call from somebody that wants to promote me on online videos for today. But anyway, here we are, and I've got my bungee cord down around my ankles, and I decide that I'm going to lay back down on the bed, or I decide that I'm going to lay on the floor. I've got tied together, and I can open and close, or I can straighten my legs and open and close and work against the resistance of that bungee cord. Open and close. Again, inside, outside thighs. A lot of you are not going to want to get down on the ground to do that. So I understand that. So that's why I'm giving you options on this to do this. That you can go and you can lay back down somewhere that's comfortable, put a pillow on your head or something, and if you want to work on that side position, those are all going to be good things for you to do. So you won't have to worry about getting down on the floor. Okay, so we were here with our chair-seated stuff. I showed you a lot of really nice options to do as far as your bungee cord. And we can do the same thing if you sit on your bungee cord. I don't know about yours, but mine is really long. The one that I have at home is a long one. And so sometimes I'll sit on it and I'll work on maybe bicep curls, curling up. And again, remember, it needs to have tension on it. Sometimes we can do hug the tree. So sitting on it should hold it there. You remember these from me when I was sitting, when I was down in a squat. I would do them in the pool at a squat, and you could really feel it in your abdominals because your abdominals had to support you. So any of these would work. Okay, I can also go back to around the feet with a bungee cord. So here they are around the feet, and I'm still seated, okay? Get them out at an angle that I can get them out, and then I can do my bicep curls from here. So I've got like 3 things going on. I've got ab and adduction with my legs. I've got core to keep me seated, and now I have some bicep curls. I have all of that going on. I can have some rows, row back. I could have one-legged, row back. If that was too hard for me to lift both legs up, then keep switching. Have one. Now there's a difference between a low row, which means my palms are facing each other, or a high row where my palms are down. So it's still a row, but there's a little bit different action. So here's the low, palms are facing, and I can do one arm and then the other. Here's the high, palms are down, wrists are always straight, and see how nice wide my angle of my elbows is. So all of this stuff is really good to do. Really nice to be able to do these, okay? So that shows you seated work with some type of resistance tubing. And again, it can be anything. It can be the bungee cord. If you've actually got tubing or you order tubing or whatever, all of those will work. If you have old tights or pantyhose or something like that, all of those will work. If you have what we have, and we've done this before, remember you roll it onto your foot. You can stand and work on it, or you can sit and work on it. Remember, reaching out. This would be a little bit of a tricep here. And I'm still seated. If I want to stand, I can do it like we used to do in the pool. I can open and close that arm, working on my rotator in here. All of that movement works. I can also turn it, bring it back across, the same arm, same leg. And I could do a little tricep behind me, a little tricep behind me as I bring it back. And then I could bring another bicep, which is this hammer curl, gluing that elbow in. So all of those we've done before. Overhead positions, and again, I can do it from a seated position. I'm just going to kind of bring this together so it's not going to be quite so wide here. And this again, I can do with my bungee cord. I can open and close from here. I can open and close from here. I can stretch back through my upper back, shoulders, and then bring it back. Upper back and shoulders. We always have that again. Be sure that your wrists are nice and straight with those wrists. That's something we want to look at. Put them underneath your arms. Again, the bungee cord can go underneath your arms as long as you have tension on it. I can do my boxing. I can do my chest press. I can do an overhead press. I can do my boxing. Boom, boom, boom. So boxing, chest press, overhead press. And even if this is all I can do, this is fine. These are sometimes called goalpost arms. Like I'm forming a goalpost. I'm in the middle of the goalpost and then here's my arms. So all this can be done from the chair. I can put it together. I can go in, out, chest press, overhead, come back. In, out, chest press, overhead, come back. I can put all of those together and then add a check. I can do anything I want. Just do it slow but sure so you can do it right. Think about quality over quantity, okay? We need strength moves, we need endurance moves, we need flexibility moves, and we need cardio moves, regardless what it is that we're doing. Okay, so having said that, again, you can be in your chair, lean back a little bit, start your bicycling. If your back hurts you, go grab you a couple of pillows and put them underneath your back, or sit on half of one, fold up the other one behind your back. Reverse your bicycling. We did all of this stuff before. We always did this. Open and close. We did this like we're doing jumping jacks. We did the paddle boat where we flex the feet. You get tired, you rest till you relax again. We did flutter kicking. We always did flutter kicking with a flex and point foot. We did crisscrosses. We did frogs. All of those. You can open, close with your frog. Open, close with your frog. You can set a little forward on your chair, and you can do treading water. Treading water, so you're not touching. Remember we did the treading water? So that circular egg beater movement, I'm going to forget the names of everything, so I don't do swimming pretty soon, I'm going to forget those. Okay, so you have bicycling forward and backward. You have running without touching. You have fast running. You have wide running. You have jumping jacks. You have flutter kicks. You have crisscrosses. You have knees extend, protection of the back. Remember, with giant pillows, you sit on a little bit of one and then you lean back on one, you hold on. Everybody's got a chair that they can do this. It's going to engage your core, your abs. It's going to give you a little cardio, because I can feel just doing it right now with my breathing, knowing that my heart rate is getting up. And then you have a choice of what you choose to do. You don't have to do all of those. You can say, okay, today I'm just going to do treading water. That's all I'm going to do. I'm watching, I don't know what it is I'm watching on TV, but I'm doing treading water while I'm watching TV, and then I rest for a second. Whatever. I'm reading my Nook or something, and then I start back again. It'd be like coming upstairs doing the stationary bike. Or I'm going to do in and out with my thighs, and then I'm going to rest a minute and then do whatever. So you don't have to get up and travel space, which means it's still good to do that. You still need to walk around. You still need to get steps in. And they tell you for every 30, there should be 3. And what that means is for every 30 minutes of non-activity, you should have 3 minutes of getting up, walking to the sink, getting a drink, going out and getting the mail, and come back. So if you don't do anything for 30 minutes, you got to have a 3-minute break that's doing something physical. And if you could set that tone for yourself right now, that would work out so beneficial for you, because we can't get you back in the pool. So any type of walking, any type of motor movements and active movements. I mean, you don't have to go out and biking obviously is wonderful. You know, not so much outside all the time. You don't have to. It's totally up to you. But you do have to have something that is active. And if you can do body weight, to a degree that is going to help you because it helps with your bone density, which is what we always, that's probably the only thing that we have trouble with in the pool. It helps so much otherwise, but not bone density. So we really want to be thinking about that and not tip the scale on it. Now I've also brought my fake weights right here. So here's my fake weights, which if you have water bottles at home, you have canned goods at home, I want you to think about all the weight movements that you can do, and you don't have to put everything together. You can do just the weights. You don't have to have leg work with it, although a lot of times it's like a twofer or a trifecta. Say, for instance, if I had leg weights, if I had weights in my hands, which I do, these are my fake weights, and I was going to do lunges, which is going to help me for my quads, and I was going to do lunges that were moving, then it also affects my core. So now I have a trifecta going, legs, core, and arms. So I would do a chest press as I lunge, a chest press as I lunge, a chest press as I lunge, one more time, a chest press as I lunge. So that's standing. So if that's not in your wheelhouse, it's no big deal. You can choose to say, okay, I'm going to lunge, my feet are in line, and all I'm going to do is chest press. That's all I'm going to do is chest press. Or you could still add some stationary work by saying, okay, I'm going to have a little bit of a squat with it, a little bit of a squat with it. So I've still got the chest press going, but now I've incorporated legs and core. We do all this in the pool, but remember when we do these movements on the lunges, we're always doing cross country, which we can do that and stay stationary. I'm just giving you options between sitting in the chair doing a chest press, moving doing a chest press, or having something added to it for cardio for the chest press. So think about the movements we've got with the arms. Okay, we've got a bicep curl, which this is a hammer curl. When you use the end of whatever weight, these could be 2 water bottles, these could be 2 cans of something, which are all 1 pound. They can be something with a handle on them, anything of that sort. Just don't over grip them and keep your wrists straight. And slow and easy. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Do not hold your breath. Okay, so that is a hammer curl. If you turn it over so the palms are up, this becomes a bicep curl. Hammer curls and bicep curls are still biceps, but they just work different parts of your bicep. You can do time, easy peasy, one at a time. You'll see this a lot when people are still warming up their ankles and their toes. They'll do this little rocking step, toe ball heel, toe ball heel. We call it a prance. They're not actually going anywhere. They're not jogging in place. They're just rotating toe ball heel, just like we were warming up before, shifting their weight. But they're also staying in alignment with their body, so they're working on their alignment, which is very important for us. We don't want to be cockeyed with our alignment. We want to be very uniform with our alignment. That's going to help our balance and our stability. Okay, just the opposite of biceps. So think about this. Every time you do a movement of weights that affects the front of your body, you need to do a movement of weights that affects the back of your body. So what goes along with biceps is your triceps. So the front of your muscle is your biceps, the back is your triceps. So a good tricep movement is to kind of hinge over. And again, I can do this in the chair, I can do it standing. So hinge over, you can lift those triceps straight back. That's the easiest one. You lift them straight back. Don't fling them, lift them. And think about lifting from the triceps. And when you do that, make sure your core is involved. Don't just let your stomach just hang out and think it doesn't have to do anything because you're working on your triceps. So keep those triceps going back. Then once you get those long triceps going, then bend at the elbow. Bend at the elbow for these what's called little kickbacks. So from the side, this is what this looks like. A little bit of a kickback right here. A little bit of a kickback. Now I can continue to add to that by turning those palms over so they're facing up to the ceiling and lifting. I can lift with that, still working with my triceps. I can bring the arms in, I'm still working with my triceps. So all of that is working with my triceps. Super duper. Okay, another form of biceps, and again seated or standing, is to bring your arms out long in front of you instead of down low by your hips. Bring that and bring your bicep curls to you, like I'm going to pat myself in the face or like I'm going to touch my forehead. Now remember, you don't have to have weights. They're just going to be more effective and build more strength if you do have weights. Now I can do one arm at a time, Just don't conk yourself, okay? One arm at a time. Good. Very nice. I can lift these arms up because I'm lifting from my bicep. I can lift them up just like this. Lift them up. Lift them up. These are all nice actions. Now, I've just said I've done a bicep, so I need to complement it with a tricep. So a tricep would be bringing it a little bit further, and again, I'm going to kind of peer a little bit down and out. My elbows are up, and I want the ends of my elbows almost to point straight forward, so that as I extend from the elbow to the hand, not the shoulder, I'm not rocking, the elbow to the hand, I'm extending again from the triceps. Sometimes you'll hear this called a skull crusher, or shaving the head, like I'm shaving my head, the back of my head, and coming back up. And this helps you through the extension or opening up through your head, neck, and shoulders area, opens you up from being so pressed behind. That's something you really want to think about. Good. Okay, so now we've got biceps and triceps in a huge assortment. I already talked about chest press. I already talked about before in the rows, the low rows, which palms are facing each other, and you skim your body. I talked about the high rows, where your palms are down. Put all that together. Another form would be talking about chest area, would be working on hug the tree. You hug your tree. You hug your tree. We've done this all the time in class. You can hug one side at a time. Just make sure your arms are not past your shoulders. They don't get out of your peripheral. They stay fairly close in here, so you always keep contact with them. Now I can fold over in my chair a little bit lower, and I've got a nice flat back. I'm not collapsing. I've got a nice flat back. I'm looking right back to my shoes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fly from here. And for me right here, I can actually see my reflection in the floor. I don't know if your floor is that spiffy, but anyway, I can see it, so I know that my arms are coming out to the letter T here on the fly. Now, if I was standing to do this, I'd have soft knees, and my fly would come back towards the middle. Come back towards the middle. Sometimes this is hard to do by yourself because you can't see what your form looks like. Another thing that corresponds to the fly is a standing lateral movement. The arms come out into the letter T. When you want to be stingy, you don't want them to come up and then go back down. You want them right there at that letter T. One of the teachers I work with calls this the opening and the closing of the armpits. The opening and closing of the armpits, which makes that a little more sense doing that. Now, yes, I could do this with leg movements if I wanted to. I could do this little lateral raises. I could do lateral raises forward. I could do it with squats if I wanted to. Get squats involved. I could do squats. I could do anything of that sort if I want to do these exercises standing. They tell you that squats and lunges are the most important part of building muscles in your legs, more so than even using weight equipment. So if you remember that and wanted to do that, as long as you think about when you do a lunge, be sure your feet are in line. That doesn't mean one right in front of the other. It means you're in alignment parallel, and your toes are always pointing forward. Doesn't really matter how low you go when you first start with your squats, especially if you have bad knees. You don't want to go really low if you have bad knees. You just want to have a little bit of a lunge. And the same thing on squats. Toes are parallel, toes are always in front of the knees. So regardless of what kind of squat you do, make sure your alignment is good. So we've got the parallel, we've got the wide or the turnout. We very rarely do medial in this position, but if you wanted to do this one just to stretch out your IT band a little bit, then you could do that. Just again, be sure that your toes are always in front of your knees. Those are the things that we really want to think about all the time. And again, as a joke, don't overgrip holding your weights. It'll put too much pressure on your hands, your wrist, and your forearms. And especially if you have early arthritis or something of that sort, it's not going to be comfortable for you to grip those weights that hard. So it needs to be something lightweight. Again, the reps should be a smaller amount when you first get started and work your way up. Just pick and choose. Just do one of something that you just kind of want to get a feel of it. Say I'm just going to do the hammer curl, so I could do 4 or 5 today. and then think about the weights on today's Tuesday. Think about not doing weights again until Thursday or again on Friday. No more than 2 to 3 times a week do weights, and make sure that they're a small amount of endurance so you can build yourself up on them. I know you won't be going out and lifting really heavy dead weights and stuff, but all of that is going to make a difference starting. And then don't forget about your overhead press. Now you can do it like it's the goalpost arms extending, or you can do it straight from the shoulders up and down. Either one of these will work, but it is pressing up over your head, which very rarely do any of you guys ever do anything over your head anymore. You don't reach up over your head, you don't do anything over your head, you certainly don't lift anything over your head. So that's going to really help you through your upper back and shoulders. And again, you can do one at a time. This one's a nice one too. This one's called the W. So you're making a W, or a check mark, or a check mark, or a check mark. And if you want to bring it down low, these are sometimes called the T-Rex arms. I always think that's kind of funny. T-Rex arm. So opening them right up underneath. You can put these together, you can bring them out, you can open, you can do the T-Rex here, take them back together, in, go out, open, T-Rex arms, take it out, bring them in, you can get them all rounded up in that direction, put that all together. So again, weights will be something that'll be very comparable for you to do. Last will be your ball, and although this is not exactly the ball that I wanted, this is still a good thing to use. So your ball can be used during anything just about that we already did. And what you want to think about on your ball when you have it, you want to think that your ball helps you with your alignment. Any ball that you get helps you with your alignment. And it also helps engage inner thighs and your abdominals. So those are the things you really want to think about, inner thighs and abdominals, okay? So this can be just as simple as lifting and squeezing, lifting and squeezing, lifting and squeezing, just that simple. It can be standing up, and can be squat and squeeze, squat and squeeze, squat and squeeze. Just that simple. So that ball gives you some extra resistance, which is what you want. Now, this is the time that I'm going to pick out with the ball and go back to the bed. And know that you could do this on the bed, or you could do it on the floor if you choose to get onto the floor. So I've got my ball right here. And I feel really good now. This is later in the day, and I want to work on my back a little bit more, and I want to work on strengthening my back, and I want to work on getting a little bit more flexibility there, and working on my hamstrings because I don't get to use them very much. So that tipping of the ball that we just practiced to warm up with in bed, now I'm going to use the ball to focus on inner thighs, abdominals, and lengthening through the back. So I'm going to try and see if I can do a bridge with this. So I can go back to my bed, I can go to the floor. I kind of like the floor for bridging better simply because I know that it's going to be flat for me. I'm going to have support of my back. You don't want anything up underneath your head. You don't want it cramped, you want it flat down. So I can use this ball to squeeze and work on my abs at the same time while it's standing up. And I find it easier to do this and less of a chance that I'm going to get a hamstring. Anything going on with my hamstring is going to not bother me whatsoever. I could put it behind one leg, the ball, and I could try one-legged ones. I could do this. I could stretch it up and do it. I could take the ball away and lift up, push up on the ceiling. There are so many things I can do with the ball that help isolate those muscles in the leg. I can put the ball between my legs, closer to my ankles, and then just do a squeeze with this, a lift and lower, a bend and extend, all of those that I do with the tubing. I can do a little bit of oblique work, which means that I'm rolling it from side to side, rolling it from side to side. So I have to use that. I can bring my head, neck, and shoulders up if I wanted to even try this and just hold it. I can just choose to just do that and hold it. And so that would be a good abdominal work to do that. Just hold in this position. Hold the ball here. Use the ball. Squeeze the ball. Make the ball work. Chest press here while I'm engaged with my abdominals. I can do the same thing with my legs straight. Or I can't make them straight, so just cross them. See how long that I can do this. Even if it's a few seconds, see if I can bring my feet up. Can I get one foot up? Can I get one foot up? Can I open and close my arms and stretch out through my shoulders? Can I bring the other foot up and do this? How flexible am I? And again, I want you to go through this several times. I want you to make notes. I want you to read through this. I want you to see what are possible for you to do using home equipment and doing things that you can get you to where you need to be. So you're sleeping better, you're feeling better, you've got some exercise, you've got some supplements to what you're used to doing. You've got me talking you through it, giving you choices. You can make your own little program. I know you like to do because you like to watch and you like to see somebody do it. I know that that's really hard. To look at a little screen and try to figure out how to exercise and how to do that. But I'm hoping you can look at the videos, or this video in particular, and take bits and parts out of it. And things that you want to do every day, which is the stretching right after you wake up and then the stretching before you go to bed. And that becomes a routine for you. And then things that are done with the tubing, maybe you do those Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You don't have to do everything once. And then maybe the stuff with the weights you do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And maybe Sundays you choose to use the ball. You just give yourself a day that you want to do something funny with the ball and try to figure out as many things that you can do with the ball. Another thing that's really neat to do with the ball, a really squishy one like we had, and again, if you don't have a ball, get you a nice little round throw pillow. Or steal somebody's stuffed animal from them, or get a roll of toilet paper. Geez Louise, there's so many things out there that you can do. And I want you to put it up underneath your tush like this. So it's like a bunny tail. It's right here. It's like almost going to go away. It's not in your lower back. It's up underneath your seat. And notice how this protects my lower back. And by this little tucking position, all of a sudden my abs have to engage. They have to keep me here from falling off this ball. So this one definitely needs to be on the floor. You probably could get by on the bed, but I think you need the surface of the floor. And from here, this is just right here. This is engaging my abs. This is definitely engaging my abs. This is super engaging my abs. This is, oh, I can't tell you how much this is engaging my abs. So all of this is engaging my abs. All of this. All of this. And then I'm just turning around things. I can hold this and my abs are engaged. And I've got balance here, I've got core, I've got protection of my back. So again, the little bitty stuff that we've always had to work on, that we could never do stuff down in the water or on our back or something, this gives us a chance to try to achieve some of that stuff that we've not been able to do before. Always when you finish, always make sure that you stretch out. Make sure that you get yourself behind the back of the chair or standing up against the wall, that you've got some stretches going, that you can get some, either a little bit of calf stretches out there, and again, remember they're in line. Calf stretches out there, remember they're in line. You can do what's called a forward fold, and fold over, and just make sure that your back is nice and extended out. You've got soft knees, that's what's called a forward fold. Then we can take the figure 4. Right here, we can take the figure 4 like we did lying down in the bed. And you've got something to hold on to for balance. If you don't like all the way up to the knee, then cross at the ankles and stretch out. You can feel it in that hip. And make sure you do both sides. Always make sure you do both sides, whether you're doing the figure 4 or you're crossing at the ankles. Now, if you have something stationary that you hold on to, remember how I used to get Zach and he would sit in a chair and I would do stretches, obliques, side to side, and I would pull against the chair or pull against the wall. You always want to remember that you need your side to side stretches, but be sure that you are staying in the middle of your body. A lot of you tend to stretch like this and lean forward. Stretch up and over like I've got a giant ball here. Up and over like I've got a giant ball here. Up and over like I'm between 2 panes of glass. So I have to stay right in the middle of the glass as I stretch over. So all of those are going to be really important for you to do. All of those are going to make a difference. Now we're going to go back to the bed, which you can do these on the floor rather on the bed because it's easier to see here. I know a lot of you don't like to get down on the ground because it's bad on your knees or it hurts your knees. But these stretches, for a lot of you, are going to be very beneficial to do because your back is going to need them. So they would be a cat and cow. So you take a big inhale, you bring your back up like it's a cat. As you exhale, then you inhale again, and the next exhale, you bring your seat up and your chin up like you're representing a cat. So it's like a C curve. My body is doing a C curve, like someone hitting the belly button. Inhale, exhale. Now it's doing a C curve, like I've got something in the middle of my back. Okay, so all of those are really good for your back and the extension of your spine itself. Another one that's a really good stretch is called wag the dog, which means that I'm going to bring my left hip towards me as I turn my head and look towards my left hip. So I'm curving around my side. So left hip, left head, look. Inhale back to center, exhale, right hip, right look. Inhale back to center, exhale, right, left. Inhale back to center, one more, left. Inhale back to center. Super. So that is the cat and cow, and that is the wag the dog side to side. The last one in that series is called the bird dog. And again, a lot of you may not like to do these because it's going to bother your wrist to a degree. So you may be able to get out of it from that. I'm just giving you examples to do, okay? So the bird dog is back in this quadruped or all four position, and you extend an arm out. It helps you with your core and your balance. So right arm and then left arm. And the same thing, I'm going to inhale to prepare, and then exhale to extend the arm. Core still engaged. Inhale to prepare, exhale to extend the arm. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the leg. Inhale to prepare, exhale, right leg back. Bring it in. Inhale, exhale, left leg back. Bring it in. Then I'm going to try, inhale, exhale, right arm, left leg. Extend out, use your core, use your balance, nice long line, and then bring them down. Same thing with the left. Inhale, exhale, extend, extend, hold as long as you choose to, and then bring it back in. And the last progression is inhale, exhale, opposite arm, opposite leg, tap down, bring it up, tap down, bring up, tap down, bring up, and bring it back in. That wasn't actually the last one, but the very last one's a lot harder to do. So here we go. Extend out, tap down, bring up, tap down, bring up, tap down, bring up, tap down, bring up, and then bring them in. So you can do any or all of those. That's totally up to you. And again, I know a lot of you are not going to want to get down on the ground or on the floor to do those last exercises. But if you do and you need an option, remember those. It's the same thing as doing stretches. There are a lot of good stretches on the ground. The most popular is the shell stretch or the child's pose. But again, if you have any problems with your knees, I know you guys are not going to want to do that. So be thinking about that. Now, I've done a lot of plank or core work for you to talk about, but most of you are not going to want to do planks or core work because it usually involves getting down on the ground, or even if you do a hover, and it usually involves problems with your wrist. So if you will go to a wall or a tall chair and even do something similar to this as a plank, that will be fine. Something where you're extended out in one nice long line. That will be fine to do. That's something really good. And then bring it into what's called a downward dog. Soften those knees and then bring it back out again to a plank. Those would be perfect to do. All of those would be perfectly fine to do. Because planks are really difficult. Again, they're going to do a lot of problems with your shoulders and your wrist. And I don't think, again, you want to get down to do them, but there are so many different ways you can do planks now. It's just amazing, but you have to figure out what you can do. Go through again, piece this out, put it together, see what it is that you're going to like to do, that you want to do, that's going to work for you. That's what's going to be the most important. I'm going to email all of this along with a bad back thing that's going on, and I'm going to keep the nutrition stuff going to you. You have to email me back. You have to let me know that you're still out there and you're still doing this, and that you might have questions, or just that you see it and you know it's available. Keep in touch, not only with me, but the other people in class, so that we're all kind of continue to kind of help out and know what everybody's doing. Make sure, obviously, you stay healthy, you stay safe, you take care of yourself, you wear your mask, don't be compromised. The list is endless of things to do. But the most important is for you to keep healthy. That's the most important it is. And the more things that you need and want and will use, I will make sure that you get to you so you can continue with the program. Shane's been super about videotaping me in all my classes, and so this was the first one that was truly just for you guys getting going, because all of this fitness stuff can be used with any activity. It could be any workout, but I'm trying to design stuff that's going to offset what you can't do in the pool. And those of you that have other activities like biking or walking or jogging or something else, then you've got a supplement to it. But those of you that don't have those other things or those other outlets, and you are using only us and water, then that's why I want you to stay doing as much of this as you can. I can't think of anything to say because I've said enough stuff, and I think Shane's going to have to go. So let me know what's happening, and we'll see you soon in the pool.